Welcome to the Raw Food Health Empowerment Podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Salmon, certified holistic health coach and author of You Can Afford to Be Healthy. And this podcast looks at a holistic approach to health from a multi-generational and multinational perspective of women of color. Thank you so much for supporting the Raw Food Health Empowerment Podcast. We have some great content and events coming up in 2021 that I'm excited to share with you. If you enjoy this podcast and you enjoy the episodes you've been hearing, please share your favorite episodes with 10 of your friends and let them know that this podcast exists. My success is really dependent on you loving it and sharing it with your friends. So in advance, I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. So today, I always say so. Today we're talking about labels. I'm going to specifically go into one product in particular, but this is not an attack on this product, right? Because I want to make it clear. I appreciate plant-based foods. And at some point I plan to invest in, plant-based businesses because they have a role to play in this whole thing, right? There are environmentalist vegans, there are animal activist vegans, and plant-based foods, is healthier than what most Americans are eating. At the same time, if you have certain health goals, you have to be really pay attention to what you're picking up, right? Because what's happening is the masses are going from processed junk food, right? Meat, dairy, whatever, to more processed junk food, right? So processed food does not equate to perfect health, right? And I don't know if perfect health necessarily exists because there's always something to work on. But if you're looking to reverse obesity and reverse type 2 diabetes, processed foods is not really where you're going to find healing for your body. You know what I'm saying? If it's vegan or not, that doesn't matter. So I want to make it clear. Veganism does not equal health, right? It's healthier for the environment and it's healthier for most people, right? But if you have a chronic disease, vegan does not equal necessarily to health.
It all depends. So, but vegan, it's good, but depends on how someone define it.
Yeah, I see like the vegan, because I know you have or have had, I don't know if you still eat this, but like the earth balance butter, which makes sense when you're transitioning. If you were used
to do that no more though.
Yeah, if you were used to having bagel in the morning with butter and now you're trying to get over dairy or whatever, it makes sense to do earth balance. I would encourage you to try avocado or guacamole because you get the spread and the same kind of creamy texture without all of the stuff that's in a earth balance. Now, this is not me condemning earth balance, right? That company, I want them to do well, right? But I'm here really to support a healthy body, right? Your healthy body. So if I can push you to eat the healthier thing than even that processed vegan food, that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay, you know what I use earth balance for? I just want to correct that. When I'm baking.
Yes, there was a time though in the beginning when you first transitioned, you was using it on bagels, right? So, and because you're on your journey, just like everybody else is on their journey, you understand? And there's no problem if you have no chronic illness and you're eating these foods and it's only 20% of what you're eating. Because like I encourage 80-20 rule. You don't have to be perfect all the time. You can have...
You can't be.
Yeah, you can have junk food. It just cannot make up the majority. Like that can't be a staple in your diet if you're looking for healing of any kind. You know what I'm saying? But if you're not in a place where you're looking for healing, you're just fine or whatever, physically, and you don't have any issues, then it's like whatever. You know what I'm saying? This conversation is specifically for folks who have obesity, type 2 diabetes. They're trying to increase the optimal functioning of their kidneys and their livers, your vital organs. Like you have some issues going on, and you're looking for a healthier lifestyle. This is what this episode is about, and ultimately this whole entire podcast. Yeah. So Beyond Burger, right, is super popular right now. And I really appreciate the fact that they're appealing really. This product, in my opinion, is not for vegans, even though I see vegans eating it. And I'm just really shocked because I feel like after you've been vegan for a certain point, regardless of how you come in, to see something that looks so much like meat, that smells so much like meat, like how could you eat that?
Well, it looks like meat, Sam, and it smells like meat because of the way they put
Process
it.
it.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
no, what they put in there, like the seasoning or because as we went through this already. Meat don't taste good unless you season it, right?
Right.
But I stopped eating those burgers. I
But
don't eat.
they went further than seasoning, ma. They use heme. They figured out how to make it look almost like how you have flesh with bloody juice. You understand? They figured out how to do that. It literally looks like flesh.
I do the same thing with mushroom.
But the mushrooms is different. There's no way you can make mushroom look like flesh. I don't know. Like I've never seen that.
When I finish with mushroom, it looks just like steak, and it tastes like steak. And I'm not a steak person, but anyhow, you're right about the burgers. They're not healthy. It's because I used to like the black beans. I don't eat them no more.
The black bean burgers?
No, I don't eat
Why?
them. Because I tell you that it's I don't there's something about it. When like sometimes I read the ingredients and there's a lot of words in there I can't even pronounce them. I don't know what it is and I don't know what I'm eating.
Right.
That's what scares me.
And that's it. So let's dig into this Beyond Burger. What's on the label? And like the most important thing you need to do if you're interested in a healthy lifestyle is you got to turn the package around and look at what's actually in it. So I'm not, a lot of nutritionists and things, they'll probably turn the package around and with their clients go over how much fat, how much sugar, how much sodium and all this. I don't really necessarily pay attention to all of that, right?
Too.
Huh? You
I
do.
do.
You do. For me, I look at the ingredients of what's actually in it.
That
And Beyond Meat, has some things that I am not a fan of, right? So specifically canola oil, right? Which we've talked about on the podcast before. And there's a link in the show notes that links to previous episodes where we've talked about some of these ingredients and some other helpful information if you want to dig deeper. But canola oil contains 4% of trans fats, and trans fats we know is harmful, right? The World Health Organization called for a global elimination of artificial trans fats by 2023. That's number one. Then you have coconut oil. And if you're a type 2 diabetic, no oil is really, I mean, I've had clients with type 2 diabetes that can get away with extra virgin olive oil, but if you're high insulin resistance, you're supposed to avoid all oils in order to reverse this, right?
uh,
Which I would assume would be the goal for everyone with type 2 diabetes, because why would you want to live with something that you can reverse, right? Because coconut oil, um it leads to fat buildup, right? And oil on any level is like, you know it's an extract. There's no fiber or like anything. It's not bound with, it's just fat. It's just concentrated fat, right? So it's completely different than eating an actual olive, or for olive oil, or eating a
all right.
coconut for coconut oil, or eating an
Okay.
actual avocado compared to avocado oil.
What about when you cook the coconut down and get the oil out of it? Because we do that.
Yeah, and then what are you left with?
oil and custard.
But that's what I'm saying. That's fat.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that a little more healthier though than going to buy the coconut oil in the store
Yeah,
because
so we did a I don't know if it was you and I or with just myself, but there's a link to an episode that I did on coconut oil talking about the different processing, right?
mm,
There's the um I forget what you call it because I don't use coconut oil, so I'm forgetting, but there's the refined
you
and the unrefined.
you used to use it though.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I used to use it at one point. In Chicago, I know definitely I used it. But I don't use or consume coconut oil at all anymore.
Uh,
I can't even stand the smell of it.
what oil do you use?
Extra virgin olive oil is the only oil that I use, and even that I use very infrequent because I try
Uh,
to avoid using oil as much as possible. But I find that extra virgin olive oil has a specific flavor that is a really nice flavor, especially if I'm making quinoa. It makes, and especially, you should read this book.
and some I don't use it in heat. I use it only on salad.
Yeah, yeah, and salad. I think it's called Fat, Salt, Sugar, or Sugar, Salt, Fat, something like that. It's in the show notes to this episode. But they talk about basically, how these processed food companies get you because this is really like addictive. Our body, our mouth, our palate loves fat, salt, and sugar, right? Now, if you're using healthier versions, that's not that big of an issue. Like the processed food industry is using it to make it work for them, but you could use it to make it work for you. So like for me, if I make a batch of quinoa and it needs something, it's not hitting the spot, I'm gonna go to my extra virgin olive oil, put a tablespoon of that in there. I might put a tablespoon of coconut aminos for the salt. You know what I'm saying? I might add some grape tomatoes to get a little bit of sweetness and some like juiciness to it because sometimes it could, it might be a little dry or boring. It just adds another element of texture and flavor. You know what I'm saying? So you can make it
Right.
work for you. But I try to avoid oils as much as possible, to be quite honest. So then you also have, and all of this that I'm saying here is broken down on the blog. So if you want to read it, just click on the link in the show notes. But there's also in the Beyond Burger natural flavors, which could be anything. We did an episode one time when they had to put a law out banning human embryos from being used. Remember? We talked about this. I know. And if you had to ban embryos from being used, um, you know what I'm saying? Because there's no regulations on natural flavors. Natural flavors could be anything. And when you look at a lot of these processed foods, most of them have natural flavors listed as an ingredient. Then there's the salt. Okay, salt. Most Americans consume too much salt. That's another thing that I try to mitigate as much as possible. And it's also excess salt can lead to stroke risk and stomach cancer. The American Heart Association is encouraging folks to consume less than 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day. And two of the Beyond Meat patties, right? So that's one package, takes you to basically half of that, right? Because it takes you to 700 milligrams of sodium, which means if you're really watching these metrics and numbers, and if you have a history of stroke or stomach cancer in your family, then I would, highly recommend that you do. Then you're really going to have to monitor your other meals around that day, like the salt consumption. And, it should be just straight up salads and juices and smoothies
And the
after
salad
that.
is easy to make because we went through that too. Like I was
Yes.
looking at the ingredients in salad dressing and the amount of sodium in there. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's ridiculous. And it's 2 tablespoons you're gonna use, or a tablespoon per serving. That's like your whole day of salt.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
easier make food.
Yes. This is it right here because ultimately that should be the goal for everybody, but I know it's difficult. The the food industry makes it so easier for people to live their life, go to work, manage things, and not have to worry about spending time in the kitchen, you know? But and while I understand the difficulties, with people commuting long hours to work, to and from work, then working long hours at work, and then you come home and like you have home responsibilities, plus for most of us, you want to relax from the day of work, like just dealing with people, dealing with the work,
You know what I would say though? The days are shorter now than the days when I was working. So I think
because
it
you
put
having a good time.
no. But anybody will tell you that their days are not long. They have so much to do and the time is so short. Anybody will tell you that now. The days are shorter because I used to do the things where everybody complain about. Come home and do housework or do housework in the morning before going to work, and I got it finished. So it must be that the days are shorter. So people cannot get to do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, there's less free time, and this is why packaged food is so appealing to folks. These Beyond Burgers, even for folks who know that they're trying to stay away from processed food, it just makes it easier. And, they don't have to probably worry about seasoning their food because everything is already in this burger, maybe. I've never tried it, so I'm not sure what it tastes like, but I've had Hillary burgers, and out of all the burgers, the in the freezer aisle or like these plant-based, I find Hillary burgers to be the cleanest on the market so far that I have seen. And it's not going to operate like your normal burger because it falls apart because it's quinoa and beans, and like it just doesn't, so I know some folks don't appreciate that. They want an actual something that holds and like that
Like,
looks, and that's
yeah,
where you have these companies like Beyond Burger. That's their market. They're trying to appeal to the folks that want something like what they were used to when they were eating trash, and make it healthier.
well, if that can make your burger to make it whole, you could use some flour or something and do it.
Well,
I
you're
mean,
talking about making it from scratch, and that
yeah,
would be the ultimate. So, like on the show notes, I have links to 3 raw vegan burgers you can make. I mean, honestly, even beyond Hillary, these are the healthiest because
right,
like you're using actual whole foods, all ingredients and you're keeping as much of the enzymes intact, by keeping it raw. And if you need it warm, you can, when you put it in the dehydrator, you can get it a little warm too in the dehydrator.
right,
Or if you don't have a dehydrator, just use your oven or whatever and on the lowest setting or something.
yeah.
But one of the things that really stood out to me from the list of ingredients, and it's a long list, I'm only highlighting the ones that I find most concerning for folks who have obesity and type 2 diabetes. But there's an ingredient called potassium chloride in there. And don't confuse this with potassium in banana, okay? Because it's not the same. Potassium chloride, when I looked this up, it's a potassium salt. And it's used as a medication to treat low blood potassium. When you research the side effects, right, it says this should not be used by folks who have diabetes, right?
Ooh, and
And
who
this
read?
is, right? That's
Who
not
research?
on the label. That's not on the label. You have to research.
But who research while they're doing their shopping? Who research? That's
Yeah.
what.
So that feels really dangerous to me, because if that's the site, if on drugs.com, right, it's saying that this drug should not be used by folks with diabetes, but it's in the food. But you know what? This is just like what the meat industry does, because the animals are shot up with all these antibiotics and stuff, which makes folks antibiotic resistant. So when they're in a serious situation where they actually need the help of antibiotics, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Wow.
Plus the folks who don't need it are eating, pharmaceuticals that they don't need to consume, right? And all pharmaceuticals have side effects, right? So I mean, you looked at the list of ingredients for Beyond Burger, and I know you like to read the labels and you go through the sodium and all this, the fat and all this. What did you think about it when you looked at the label?
Well, what I think about it is after I finish eat it and then I read the box before I try it out.
So, have you had Beyond Burger before?
Not on burger, never tried, never, because I slow down on the burger. I don't do them no more, as I say, because I find it just so refreshing to make a veggie burger without make it raw too. Like you grate your carrots, you grate your beet, you cut up your onions, your whatever, you cut up your greens and everything, and you put it together and pack it on top of bread. Could be 2 slices of bread this high, and that's my burger. That's what I like. I mean, I have a different taste from most people, though. The things that I want to eat is kind of different. I am afraid of those ingredients. I'm really afraid of it.
Yeah.
And when I finish eat what I prepare, I don't get upset stomach. I don't like to eat something and then I feel uncomfortable. See, that's the biggest thing. So
yeah.
Anybody want to try the raw burger? It's fine. You just I mean, I could throw a recipe on the and let you all see what it looks
put
like.
it in the group because I want to see what you're calling a raw burger.
This what I call a raw burger.
Yeah, because when you said you put beans, the beans are cooked.
No, I don't use beans in my raw burger. When I say raw burger, it fall apart like your salad fall apart. But you're talking about grated beets, grated carrots, onions, bell pepper, and you get your spring mix with all the different type of leaf, and you chop them up. Take your hands and you season it, and take your hands and mold it together. Pack it between your bread. Put it on your and you eat it just like a burger. I mean, that's what I call a burger. What I call a burger is things that pack in between 2 slices of bread. That's my burger.
Yes, I see. And that could even be even more raw with instead of actual bread, which of course bread itself is a processed food. You could use romaine lettuce leaf or collard leaves, or they actually have raw vegan breads, but you definitely need a dehydrator to make raw vegan breads. I find raw vegan breads to be very hard on the teeth, so
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something. No one is perfect, and there is quite a little imperfection in me. I love my bread, but I buy special bread. I think you know that already.
Which one is that? The
That
Ezekiel?
no, I use Ezekiel sometimes, but it's too dry. I don't like the dryness of it. But I get this I'm trying to remember how many grains it is in there. It's Arnold, and I think I don't remember if it's 30 grains or whatever is in there. But that bread is $7 a loaf.
It's like 21 grain bread or something like that.
Yes, and I keep it in the freezer. This way I don't eat it often. But today before the podcast, I had my burger, and that's what I had. So that's why I'm able to tell you what it is.
So tell me, Ma, people want to know, how long does it take you to make this burger, and can you make it in advance?
Okay, you can make it in advance. You just don't put anything on your bread until you're ready for your bread. And I put my bread in the toaster, and I put the vegan mayonnaise on the bread. So that's what give it that burger taste.
So now you're talking about vegan mayonnaise.
Okay, but you can also make your own mayonnaise,
which would be highly recommended because the vegan mayonnaise is going to have canola oil in it.
Okay, but wait, let me tell you something though. Remember what I just said though? There's a lot of imperfection in me. But I don't there are certain things I use that, but how often do I eat a sandwich like that? Not often.
Yeah. I mean, you can also make hummus, like,
yeah, you can put hummus on it, or you can put whatever you want to put on it. But it is delicious. It is very delicious. And another thing I put in mine, I forget to tell you. Raw cabbage. Grated raw cabbage, but you have to use organic cabbage because the organic cabbage is actually sweet and very soft. Yes. That's
I
what I
didn't
had.
know that.
That's what I had before I came on the podcast.
Yeah.
Because I think I told you that when I eat things like that, I'm more lighter. I have a
Mhm.
happier spirit. I don't feel sleepy or down, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely has an impact on the mood. And you know what, your burger recipe, you're going to put it in the group, in the Raw Food Health Empowerment group,
Right.
or the Self-Care Salon group. Not sure which one you're going to put it in because I know sometimes but it's up to you, whichever place you want to share it. But I wanted, so it has me thinking, like, for folks who have to go to work and package food for work, right? Because I remember we were having a conversation in the Raw Food Health Empowerment Circle about our version of a Lunchable. Like, what would we create if we were to create a healthy Lunchable? And this sounds like it could be that, where you make this burger, but you keep the bread separate, and then you need a separate container for whatever kind of spread you make. Or
Okay.
I honestly, I would just bring half an avocado with the seed in it so it could stay fresh, and use that as the spread. That's a
Okay.
simple spread. You don't have to spend time making anything.
Yeah, but let me explain something to you. Well, not even half of a has. One person can just have one has, so it'll be easy because you can't cut it and put it. But anyhow, when you prepare these things, you have to have separate containers. You don't mix the beet with the carrot. You don't mix the onion with the beet. You understand? Separate container for
But you're
everything.
gonna make one burger.
I'm telling you how to make it easy for people who want an easy life. While you're cutting up, making one for one, you can cut up for 2, 3 days, but you have them separate in the refrigerator. When you're ready to make, you just take out what you need.
I see.
But you don't want that onion and bell pepper sit in your greens for the, 'cause you don't need that much marinating. You need
Mm-hmm.
it fresh, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But there's way you can use the time or you spend your money. We went over this before. Just like how you spend money, you go to the supermarket, you take your time and you shop wisely. So when you come home, you know exactly how you're gonna prepare your lunch for the week and so. So
Yep.
it shouldn't be that hard.
Planning.
Practice becomes perfect.
It sure does. It sure does. I know when I'm making something new, the first, like, I have to prepare myself, especially if it's a lot. If I feel like it's a lot, I have to mentally prepare myself. And then when I do it, I allow space so I'm not in a rush. I can just do it and kind of figure it out and have fun with it instead of rushing through it. And once I make it on a regular basis, then it becomes a part of my repertoire of something I could pull out to, as what I'm going to eat whenever, without having to really think about how to make it and stuff like that,
Yeah.
because you already have it kind of ingrained in your
Mhm.
memory.
Yes. You have to take time and read the labels properly. Make good choices while you're in the supermarket. And if you really want to eat healthy, and I tell people that all the time, when you go to the supermarket, spend 95% of your time in the green grocer section. Because nowadays they're making them larger. I go to one where you have two, it's like a whole store in just one section. Because the store I go to was a Macy's before. It's Food Bazaar. So
Mm.
anybody who's in the New York area know what Food Bazaar is. They know what I'm talking about. They give you choices. So you spend your whole time in the green grocery section. You don't have to buy anything else.
So they
Everything
turned a Macy's into a grocery store.
that's where you went to when you went to Fairway. But now it's
Interesting.
so now it's Food Bazaar. But
Wow.
oh nice, very nice now. Very nice. Expensive but nice. You pay for.
And that right there too, the money part is a very interesting point, because I've been reading articles talking about how plant-based alternatives are more expensive, and that makes sense because it's popular right now, right? Ultimately, these foods are transition foods. They're not where you stay. So if you need that bridge, that crutch to get you over the craving, the hump, this is just a doorway to ultimately get to eating as whole, as fresh foods as possible, and trying, like, as you were saying, practice makes perfect. The biggest part of it is figuring out how to make it work with your lifestyle. So, the time you need to meal prep, how you need to meal prep for your lifestyle, your work, however your situation is set up, you
Exactly.
know, to really be healthy, because these companies are looking out for their bottom line. They want to win. And winning for them isn't you being healthier. It's them being profitable to
Oh
their
yeah,
shareholders.
they're looking out for themselves, and it's just the same way those people are looking out for themselves. You should look out for yourself.
You should look out for yourself. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like, I want plant-based foods to win. At the
Yes.
same time, if you are listening to this podcast and you're a client of mine, I want you to be healthy, and disease free.
Right.
So
Right.
that may not equate to their goals, but that, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Because there are folks who, they should be serving, and they shouldn't be the folks with, chronic illness. You know what I'm saying? We need to get our bodies into a place of homeostasis and health. And then at that point, like I said, 80-20 rule, 20% of the time, eat your plant-based burger, your uh pizzas, your whatever. Have fun, you know what I'm saying? If it's not the majority of what you're doing on a regular basis, it's not really going to have a huge impact.
Okay, so if you want pizza too, there's an easy way to make.
What's your way to make it?
You use the same veggie at home, and if you have pita bread, here we go with the bread again. You
Mm-hmm.
take the pita bread and put all your veggie on it and stick it in a toaster oven.